Marcus Ashford's voice cracked through the microphone at Maxwell's Steakhouse. My daughter is dying. Chicago's wealthiest elite froze mid-conversation. The charity gala went silent. All eyes turned to the billionaire standing at the podium, tears streaming down his face. 9 months, 147 seizures, 17 specialists. Every treatment has failed. His hands trembled. Left hemisphere focal origin, violent episodes, treatment resistant to every anti-epileptic drug. She's 16 years old, and I'm watching her disappear. At the back of the room, waitress Claire Brennan froze with champagne glasses balanced on her tray. She knew those symptoms. Her photographic memory pulled up every medical text she'd ever studied. The progression pattern, the focal presentation, the treatment resistance. This wasn't standard epilepsy. This was Rasmussen's encephalitis. Rare, deadly, misdiagnosed. $5 million. Marcus's voice shattered. To anyone who can stop my daughter's seizures. Claire's water pitcher trembled. Because she could save this girl. She'd diagnosed this exact condition at Johns Hopkins before they destroyed her career. But speaking up meant exposing everything. The medical degree she was hiding. The doctor who framed her. The reason she served tables instead of saving lives. 47 seconds of pure war inside her head. Stay invisible. Stay safe. Or save a dying child and risk everything. Then a scream tore from the adjoining room. She's seizing. Lily's seizing. Claire's tray crashed to the floor. Glass exploded across marble. Her body moved before her mind could stop it. She shoved through the frozen crowd, dropped to her knees beside 16-year-old Lily Ashford, convulsing violently on the restaurant floor. Marcus Ashford sobbed over his daughter's body. Please, somebody help her. Claire's hands moved with surgical precision, turned Lily on her side, protected her airway, started timing the seizure with clinical expertise no waitress should possess. When Lily finally stopped convulsing and gasped for air, Marcus stared at Claire like she'd materialized from another world. Who are you? Claire looked at the dying daughter, at the desperate father, at 18 months of hiding that had just shattered in 7 words. I know what's wrong with your daughter. The room went dead silent. What Claire didn't know. The specialist who destroyed her career was the same doctor who'd been killing Lily for 9 months. So here's what I need to know. Would you speak up and lose everything you've built, or stay quiet and live with that death forever? Drop your answer below. Because what Claire does next, it destroys her safety. But it starts a war that will expose a truth no one saw coming. 3 weeks earlier, Claire Brennan's alarm screamed at 5:47 a.m. in her cramped Chicago studio apartment. She silenced it quickly. Thin walls meant angry neighbors. The apartment was smaller than most people's closets. 400 square feet of survival. Her mattress sat directly on the floor. No bed frame. Couldn't afford one. The kitchen was 3 feet of counter space, and a microwave that sparked when it ran too long. But hidden behind the cleaning supplies under her sink, 43 medical textbooks worth $8,000. She pulled one out while her coffee brewed. Advanced Pediatric Neurology, 4th edition. Flipped it open. Read 3 pages about atypical seizure presentations. Her photographic memory absorbed every word, every diagram, every treatment protocol. This was her secret routine. Study for 2 hours before work. Keep her brain sharp. Stay ready for a medical career that no longer existed. Rasmussen's encephalitis, she whispered to her empty apartment. Progressive inflammation of one brain hemisphere, resistant to standard anti-epileptics. Treatment protocol, immunotherapy, possible hemispherectomy, prognosis without intervention, progressive neurological decline, treatment-resistant seizures, cognitive deterioration. She recited it perfectly, like she'd never left Johns Hopkins. Her phone lit up with a banking notification. Balance, $1,847.32. Rent due in 5 days, $900. Student loan debt, $240,000. The math was simple and crushing. She touched the worn leather medical journal sitting on her nightstand, the one constant in her destroyed life. Tyler Martinez's case notes. Every detail documented. Every mistake Dr. Raymond Chen made. Every lie he told. She ran her fingers across the cracked leather whenever anxiety spiked. It grounded her, reminded her why she kept fighting. By 7:30 a.m., she was at Maxwell's Steakhouse in her server uniform. Black button-down shirt, black slacks, white apron. The air conditioning blasted cold enough to see her breath. She shivered constantly in the thin fabric, but she was excellent at this job. Table 7. 2 businessmen, 3 martinis each, medium rare ribeyes. Table 12. Anniversary couple, champagne, shared lobster. Allergic to shellfish. Wait. No, just the husband. Table 18. Group of 8, complicated order. 3 vegetarians, 1 gluten-free, 2 pescatarians. 23 orders memorized without writing a single word down. Her photographic memory made her the best server in Chicago. Claire, honey. Mrs. Patterson's voice rang out from table 4. The elderly woman came every Tuesday and Thursday, always requested Claire's section, always tipped exactly 35%. Good morning, Mrs. Patterson. Claire's voice shifted effortlessly, professional warmth, service industry polish. You're looking tired today, dear. Mrs. Patterson's sharp eyes studied her with unusual concern. Are you taking care of yourself? Claire's professional smile wavered slightly. Just a long week. Your usual Earl Grey? Yes, please. Mrs. Patterson touched Claire's hand gently. You know, I've met a lot of people in my 78 years, and I can always tell when someone is meant for something more than where they currently are. Claire's breath caught. I'm just a waitress, Mrs. Patterson. The elderly woman's eyes sparkled with knowledge she didn't voice. If you say so, dear. But I see you, really see you. Whatever brought you here, wherever you're going, I believe you'll get there. Claire's throat tightened. She touched her apron pocket, where she sometimes carried Tyler's journal. Thank you. Mrs. Patterson nodded, knowingly, asking nothing more. The lunch rush began. The smell of aged beef filled the air. Crystal glasses clinked. Wealthy diners discussed mergers and vacations, and Claire Brennan moved invisibly between them, a genius in a server's uniform, hiding in plain sight. She had no idea everything was about to change. Marcus Ashford walked through Maxwell's entrance at exactly 6:47 p.m. The manager, Gerald, nearly dropped his reservation book. Mr. Ashford, we weren't expecting you tonight. Last-minute business dinner. Marcus's voice was controlled, professional. Table 12, available? Of course, your usual spot. Gerald practically sprinted to prepare the table, snapping his fingers at the staff. Move, move, Mr. Ashford is here. Claire watched from the service station. She'd never seen Gerald this nervous. Marcus Ashford commanded attention without trying. His Tom Ford suit probably cost $6,000 more than Claire made in 3 months. His titanium Patek Philippe watch caught the light as he checked his phone. She knew that watch. $240,000. The exact amount of her student debt sitting casually on his wrist, but his eyes told a different story. Exhausted. Dark circles barely concealed. The look of a man who hadn't slept properly in months. 3 men in expensive suits followed him to table 12. Business associates discussing Vertex Systems, Marcus's tech empire. Something about a merger, quarterly projections, shareholder concerns. Marcus barely listened. His phone buzzed every 3 minutes. Each time, his jaw tightened. Each time, he checked it immediately. Mr. Ashford, your server tonight will be Claire, Gerald announced, shooting Claire a warning look that said, "Don't mess this up." Claire approached with water glasses and menus. "Good evening, gentlemen. Can I start you with drinks?" Marcus looked up, made eye contact. "Water is fine. What are your specials tonight?" Claire shifted into her professional mode. "We have a 40-day dry-aged ribeye with—" "What makes it special?" Marcus interrupted. His attention suddenly focused on her. "The dry-aging process breaks down muscle tissue, concentrating flavor," Claire explained. "The myoglobin content makes the ribeye particularly tender, and the controlled decomposition creates complex, almost nutty undertones that—" She stopped. Too much detail. Too educated. Marcus's eyebrows raised slightly. "You know your biochemistry." Claire's heart raced. "I just pay attention to the menu descriptions." "Uh-huh." Marcus studied her for 3 seconds too long, then dismissed it, returned to his phone. Another message, another tightening of his jaw. "I'll have the ribeye, medium," his associates ordered. Claire memorized everything without writing. As she walked away, she heard one of them say, "Marcus, you need to focus. This merger is critical." "My daughter is critical," Marcus snapped. "Everything else is just noise." Silence at the table. Claire glanced back, saw Marcus staring at his phone screen, saw the pain carved into his face. She didn't know his daughter's name yet. Didn't know about the 9 months of seizures. Didn't know that in 2 weeks, their lives would collide in a way that would destroy everything. But she felt it, that recognition of desperation. She knew what it looked like when someone was drowning. 2 weeks later, Maxwell's Steakhouse transformed into a glittering palace. The annual Chicago Medical Research Gala. 500 guests, Chicago's wealthiest elite, packed into the private event space. Diamonds, designer gowns, tuxedos. The chandeliers blazed. A string quartet played softly in the corner. Claire worked the floor with 12 other servers, circulating champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Her feet ached. She'd been standing for 6 hours. Marcus Ashford sat at the head table, looking more exhausted than ever. He kept checking his phone, kept glancing toward the hallway, kept touching his jacket pocket like something precious was hidden there. At 8:47 p.m., the event coordinator handed him a microphone. Marcus stood. The room quieted. Everyone expected a standard speech. "Thank you for coming. Here's how much money we raised. Medical research is important." Instead, Marcus Ashford's voice cracked. "I need to tell you something." His hands trembled slightly. "My daughter, Lily, is 16 years old. 9 months ago, she had her first seizure. We thought it was nothing. Stress, maybe. Teenage hormones." The room went completely silent, but they didn't stop. They got worse. Violent, unpredictable. "She's had 147 seizures in 9 months. We've consulted 17 specialists. Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, Mass General, Cleveland Clinic. The best neurologists in the world." Marcus's voice broke. "And none of them can help her." Claire stood frozen at the back of the room, champagne tray balanced on her palm. Every anti-epileptic drug has failed. Every experimental treatment, every prayer. Tears ran down Marcus Ashford's face in front of 500 people. "I've watched my daughter seize so violently she's broken bones. I've held her while she convulses and can't breathe. I've seen the light in her eyes dim a little more each time." The room was paralyzed. "So I'm making an offer tonight. $5 million. To anyone, and I mean anyone who can stop my daughter's seizures. I don't care about your credentials. I don't care about your methods. If you can help her, the money is yours." He described the symptoms in detail. The episodes are triggered unpredictably. Loss of consciousness. Left hemisphere focal origin. She's resistant to carbamazepine, valproic acid, levetiracetam, every medication we've tried. The seizures last between 2 and 7 minutes. She has them 3 to 5 times per week now. Claire's champagne tray trembled. She knew these symptoms. Every detail Marcus described painted a perfect picture in her mind. The progression, the focal origin, the treatment resistance. She'd seen this exact presentation before. Not common epilepsy, something rarer, more dangerous. Rasmussen's encephalitis. Atypical presentation. Her mind raced through the diagnostic criteria. Progressive unilateral brain inflammation, treatment-resistant seizures, Left hemisphere involvement. The timeline matched. The symptoms matched. Everything matched. But she couldn't say anything, couldn't move. 18 months of hiding screamed at her to stay silent, stay invisible, stay safe. Marcus finished his speech. If anyone has any information, any suggestions, anything at all, please, I'm begging you. The room erupted in sympathetic applause, empty gestures. Nobody had answers. Claire stood paralyzed, her internal war raging. Every cell in her body screamed to help. Her medical training, her oath, her purpose, everything she'd ever been demanded, she speak up. But speaking meant exposure, meant Dr. Raymond Chen would find her, meant the career she'd spent 2 years mourning would be desecrated all over again. 47 seconds of pure internal chaos. Then, a scream from the hallway. She's seizing. Lily's seizing. Chaos erupted. Marcus dropped the microphone and sprinted toward the sound. Guests gasped. Some stood. Most froze uselessly. Claire's champagne tray slipped from her hands. Glass exploded across marble. Her body moved before her mind could stop it. She pushed through the crowd, her server's uniform invisible in the chaos, reached the private room where a teenage girl convulsed violently on the floor. Lily Ashford, pale, thin, her body rigid and shaking. Marcus knelt beside her, helpless, sobbing. Please, baby, please. Move. Claire's voice cut through the chaos with pure medical authority. Not a server's politeness, a doctor's command. She dropped to her knees beside Lily, checked her airway, turned her on her side, started timing the seizure on her watch. Someone get all these people back. She needs space and air. Her hands moved with practiced precision, protecting Lily's head, monitoring her breathing, watching for the seizure's progression pattern. 3 minutes 47 seconds. The seizure stopped. Lily gasped, unconscious but breathing. Marcus stared at Claire like she'd materialized from thin air. Who are you? Claire looked up at him, at the desperate father, at the dying daughter, at the 18 months of hiding that had just shattered. 7 words. I know what's wrong with your daughter. The room went silent. Claire Brennan had just destroyed everything. But she didn't know the specialist treating Lily was the same doctor who'd destroyed her career. She had no idea what was coming. Maxwell's back office exploded with voices. You embarrassed me. Gerald, the manager, paced furiously. You dropped a tray, shoved through guests, played doctor. That girl was having a seizure. Claire shot back. That's not your job. Gerald's face was red. Your job is to serve food and stay invisible. Marcus Ashford stood in the doorway, security flanking him. His voice cut through the argument. Everyone out, except her. Gerald and the staff fled. Marcus closed the door, studied Claire with laser focus. Who are you? And don't tell me you're just a waitress. Claire's mind raced. How much to reveal? How little to risk? I have medical training. What kind of training? Marcus pressed. Enough to recognize what 17 specialists missed. Marcus's jaw tightened. I've dealt with dozens of people claiming they can cure Lily. Faith healers, herbalists, con artists. Every single one was selling false hope. I'm not selling anything. Then what do you want? Claire looked at him directly. I want to save your daughter's life. By diagnosing her in 30 seconds. By recognizing Rasmussen's encephalitis when I hear it described. The words hung in the air. Marcus's breath caught. What did you say? Rasmussen's encephalitis. Rare. Progressive inflammation of one brain hemisphere. That's why standard anti-epileptics don't work. The seizures aren't caused by electrical misfiring. They're caused by immune system attacking brain tissue. Marcus pulled out his phone, typing rapidly. My neurologist has never mentioned. Most neurologists never see a case in their entire career. It's that rare. But the symptoms you described, textbook presentation, left hemisphere focal seizures, progressive worsening, treatment resistance, that's Rasmussen's. How do you treat it? immunotherapy, potentially hemispherectomy, surgical removal of the damaged hemisphere. Marcus's face went white. Remove half her brain? Better than watching the inflammation destroy both sides. Better than seizures that will eventually kill her. Silence. Marcus studied her with new intensity. What's your name? Claire Brennan. Where did you train? The trap closed around her. That's complicated. Uncomplicated. Claire's heart hammered. I need you to trust me. Trust a waitress, claiming my daughter has a disease I've never heard of. Based on overhearing one conversation, Marcus's desperation battled his skepticism. Give me one reason to believe you. Because I've diagnosed this before. Because I've seen what happens when it's treated wrong. Because your daughter has maybe 6 months before the damage becomes irreversible. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from someone labeled Dr. Chen, his neurologist. Marcus made a decision. My estate. Tomorrow morning. 10 a.m. He pulled out a business card, wrote his private number. Bring your credentials. Medical degree. License. Whatever proves you are who you claim to be. If you're legitimate, I'll pay you as a consultant. If you're a con artist trying to exploit my family, I will have you arrested for fraud and practicing medicine without a license. Claire took the card with shaking hands. She had no credentials to bring. 2 years earlier, Johns Hopkins Medical Center. Claire Brennan, in scrubs, surrounded by attending physicians. Dr. Chen. I really think we should consider Rasmussen's encephalitis, 26-year-old Claire said, holding Tyler Martinez's chart. Dr. Raymond Chen barely looked up. It's standard epilepsy, Dr. Brennan. Don't overcomplicate. But the progression pattern, the focal presentation, are you questioning my diagnosis? Chen's voice went cold. I'm suggesting we rule out. You're a second-year resident. I've been practicing neurology for 22 years. The boy has epilepsy. We treat with standard protocols. 3 weeks later, 8-year-old Tyler Martinez died. Claire reported her concerns to the medical board, provided documentation, explained how Chen's misdiagnosis killed Tyler. 2 days later, Chen filed his own report, claimed Claire administered experimental treatment without authorization, falsified records, created a paper trail that blamed her. The medical board investigation lasted 4 months. Chen's mentor sat on the board. The politics were clear. Claire's medical license, suspended pending further review. Her career, destroyed. Her debt, crushing. Her evidence, Tyler's complete case file, which she'd secretly copied. Everything in a leather medical journal she carried everywhere. Claire sat alone in her studio apartment at 2:13 a.m. Tyler's photo taped inside her journal. A little boy with a gap-toothed smile who'd never grow up. I couldn't save you, she whispered. Maybe I can save her. Tomorrow, she'd walk into Marcus Ashford's estate with no credentials and expose herself completely. Tomorrow, everything would change. So, here's what I need to know. Would you expose yourself and risk absolute destruction to save one life? Or would you protect yourself and live with that death forever? Drop your honest answer below, because the next 2 acts of this story contain revelations that will make you question everything. Claire's about to discover that the doctor treating Lily is the same man who destroyed her. And Marcus is about to learn that trusting the wrong person doesn't just cost money. It costs everything. Also, hit that subscribe button and tell me where you are watching from. I want to know how far this story travels. The Ashford estate sat 45 minutes north of Chicago, in Lake Forest, behind iron gates that probably cost more than Claire's entire life. Her 2009 Honda Civic coughed and sputtered up the pristine driveway. The contrast was almost obscene. Manicured lawns stretched for acres. The main house looked like something from a European postcard, stone and glass and old money. Claire wore her only professional outfit, a grey pantsuit she'd bought for medical school interviews 6 years ago. It was outdated, slightly too tight now, and had a small stain on the left sleeve she'd tried to cover with a safety pin. She felt like a fraud before she even knocked. Marcus's assistant, a sharp woman named Jennifer, with a Bluetooth earpiece, met her at the door. "Miss Brennan, this way." No warmth, no welcome, just cold efficiency. The library was larger than Claire's entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, leather furniture, a fireplace that could fit 3 people standing, windows overlooking a garden where autumn leaves drifted across stone pathways. And sitting in a leather chair by the window was Lily Ashford. Claire's breath caught. The girl was pale as paper, dark circles carved deep under her eyes. Her hands trembled slightly even at rest. She wore an oversized northwestern hoodie that swallowed her thin frame. 16 years old, but looked like she'd lived 40 hard years. But her eyes were sharp, intelligent, still fighting. "You're the waitress," Lily said. Not accusatory, just observing. "I'm Claire. My dad says you think you know what's wrong with me." Lily's voice carried a weight of exhaustion and desperate hope. "Everyone thinks they know. They're always wrong." Claire sat across from her, slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. "Can I ask you some questions?" That's what doctors always start with. "I'm not here as your doctor. I'm here as someone who's seen what you're going through." Something shifted in Lily's expression. Permission granted. Claire spent 20 minutes talking with her. Not examining, she had no equipment, no legal authority. But listening, Lily described the seizures in detail, the warning signs, the moments of consciousness trapped inside a body she couldn't control, the terror of not knowing when the next one would hit. "I can't drive. Can't be alone. Can't go to school." Lily's voice cracked. "I had a full scholarship to Northwestern. Early acceptance. I was going to study neuroscience, actually. Kind of ironic." Claire's heart broke cleanly in half. Then Marcus entered with medical files. Thick manila folders, her complete records, every test, every consultation. Claire opened the first folder, started reading, and froze. The handwriting on the diagnostic notes was instantly recognizable. Sharp, angular script, aggressive pen pressure. She'd seen it on Tyler Martinez's falsified records, Dr. Raymond Chen. Her hands went numb. The room tilted slightly. "Are you all right?" Lily asked. Claire forced herself to keep reading. Page after page of Chen's notes, and it was all there, the exact same pattern, dismissing obvious Rasmussen's indicators, attributing symptoms to atypical epilepsy, pushing standard protocols that would never work, discouraging second opinions. "Miss Brennan?" Marcus's voice cut through her spiral. "Who's the lead neurologist on this case?" "Dr. Raymond Chen, Harvard Medical School, 25 years experience. Chief of Neurology at Northwestern Memorial. Why?" Claire's throat closed. An elderly woman entered the library. 70-something, elegant silver hair, sharp eyes that missed nothing. She carried herself with quiet authority. "Grandmother." Lily's face lit up slightly. "This must be our mysterious Claire." The woman extended her hand. "Victoria Ashford, Marcus's mother." Claire shook her hand, still reeling. Victoria sat down, studying Claire with unnerving intensity. "You recognize something in my granddaughter? Something 17 specialists missed?" Yes. And now you've gone pale reading her medical files. Why?" Claire looked at Lily, at Marcus, at Victoria. Made a choice. "Because I know Dr. Chen, and I know his diagnostic patterns." The room went silent. "He's done this before. 3 other cases over 8 years, all rare presentations, all misdiagnosed, all with devastating outcomes." Victoria leaned forward. "Tell me more." Claire explained what she'd found in Tyler's case, the pattern of Chen covering his mistakes. Victoria listened with the focus of someone who'd spent decades reading people. 3 cases, you said. Do you have names?" "Tyler Martinez. That's the one I know personally. The other 2 I'd need to investigate." Victoria pulled out her phone, typed rapidly. "Marcus, I'm going to make some calls. Claire, you'll stay for lunch. We need to talk more." While Claire sat with Lily, Marcus stood in his home office with printouts covering his desk. His head of security, David Kim, had worked fast. Claire Brennan, 28 years old, Johns Hopkins Medical School, top 5% of her class, pediatric neurology resident. Then this. He pointed to the medical board documents. 2 years ago, she was suspended. A child died under her care. 8-year-old Tyler Martinez. The board investigation found she administered unauthorized experimental treatment. Her attending physician, Dr. Raymond Chen, filed the complaint. Marcus's stomach dropped. The same Dr. Chen treating Lily. The same. Marcus read through the case file. Read the accusations. Read Chen's statements. Read Claire's defense. Then he walked back to the library. Claire was explaining something to Lily, using a pen and paper to draw brain diagrams. Teaching. Her whole face transformed when she talked about neurology, lit up with purpose. He interrupted. Miss Brennan. A word. They stepped into the hallway. Marcus closed the door. You're the doctor who killed a child and lost her license. He held up the printouts. You want to explain that? Claire's jaw tightened. I'm the doctor who tried to save him from the man who's now killing your daughter. Tyler Martinez. Same diagnosis. Rasmussen's encephalitis. Same atypical presentation. Same dismissal by Dr. Chen. Tyler died because Chen refused to consider he was wrong. Or, Tyler died because you did something experimental and dangerous. I never touched Tyler's treatment protocol. Chen falsified those records to cover his mistake. Claire's voice shook with rage and grief. I identified Rasmussen's early. I presented evidence. I begged him to change course. He dismissed me. And when Tyler died, he needed someone to blame. Marcus studied her face. Desperation, anger, but also something else. Truth. Why should I believe you, over a Harvard-trained neurologist with 25 years of experience? Because Lily has, maybe 6 weeks before the damage becomes permanent, and in 6 weeks, you're going to know I was right. But it'll be too late. Marcus walked to the window, pulled out his wallet. Inside was a photo his late wife, Diane, taken 3 months before the cancer took her. Smiling, alive, gone 5 years now. Lily was all he had left. If you're lying to me, I'm not. If you're conning me, I'm not. Marcus turned to face her. Then prove it. Dr. Raymond Chen arrived at exactly 2 p.m. for Lily's weekly consultation. He swept through the Ashford Estates entrance like he owned it. Expensive suit, leather medical bag, the confidence of a man whose authority had never been seriously challenged. Jennifer escorted him to the library. Mr. Ashford is waiting for you with... Chen opened the door and froze. Claire Brennan sat next to Lily. Medical charts spread across the coffee table. For 3 seconds, the world stopped. Recognition flashed across Chen's face. Shock first, then calculation, then rage, carefully concealed beneath a professional mask. Mr. Ashford. Chen's voice was controlled ice. What is this person doing in your home? Marcus stood. Dr. Chen, this is Claire Brennan. I know exactly who she is. Chen set down his medical bag with deliberate precision. Miss Brennan is a discredited former medical resident who lost her license after killing a child through gross incompetence. Claire didn't flinch. Hello, Dr. Chen. You have no business being anywhere near a patient, especially not one in my care. Chen turned to Marcus. Mr. Ashford, I must insist this woman leave immediately. Her presence here is not only inappropriate, it's dangerous. Victoria Ashford spoke from her chair by the window. Dr. Chen, Miss Brennan was invited here as a consultant. A consultant? Chen's professional veneer cracked slightly. She has no medical license, no credentials, no authority to practice medicine. What she does have is a record of medical malpractice that resulted in the death of an 8-year-old boy. Tyler Martinez, Claire said quietly. The name hung in the air like a bomb. Chen's hand trembled just for a second before he controlled it. Yes, Tyler Martinez. The child whose death is on your hands. The child you misdiagnosed. The child I tried to save. You administered unauthorized treatment. I never touched his treatment protocol. You falsified those records. The room went deadly silent. Marcus watched the exchange like a tennis match. Victoria leaned forward. Lily's eyes went wide. Chen's face flushed red. That is a slanderous accusation. I have documented evidence. You have falsified records, Claire interrupted, her voice steady. Tyler Martinez had Rasmussen's encephalitis. I diagnosed it. You dismissed it. He died because you refused to admit you were wrong. I was not wrong. Then explain Lily's condition. Chen's jaw tightened. Lily has atypical epilepsy. Complex, yes, but we're managing it. She's had 147 seizures in 9 months. That's not management. That's failure. Medicine is not an exact science. Dr. Chen. Claire stood, meeting his eyes directly. Tell Mr. Ashford about Maya Thornton. Chen went pale. Tell him about the 12-year-old girl you treated 3 years ago with similar symptoms. Tell him her outcome. I treat hundreds of patients. Maya Thornton, now 14, permanent brain damage, because you misdiagnosed Rasmussen's encephalitis as standard epilepsy. Chen's professional mask shattered. You have no idea what you're talking about. And David Chen, no relation to you. Age 14. You recommended hemispherectomy surgery. They removed half his brain. Turned out he didn't need it if you diagnosed Rasmussen's correctly and tried immunotherapy first. Those cases were complex. Those cases had the same pattern as Tyler, the same pattern as Lily. Chen turned to Marcus, desperation bleeding into his voice. Mr. Ashford, this woman is unstable. She's been stalking my practice, making wild accusations, trying to destroy my reputation because she can't accept responsibility for her own failures. Is it true? Marcus asked quietly. About Maya Thornton and David Chen? Medical cases are confidential. Is it true? Chen's hands shook. Every patient is different. Outcomes vary. Medicine involves calculated risks. Answer the question. Victoria spoke up. I made some calls this afternoon, Raymond. I spoke with Maya Thornton's mother. She said you discouraged them from seeking second opinions, assured them you had everything under control. And now their daughter will never fully recover. Chen spun on Victoria. You had no right. I have every right when my granddaughter's life is at stake. Lily's voice, small but clear, cut through the argument. I trust her more than I trust you. Everyone turned to look at her. What? Chen's voice went sharp. Claire, I trust her. Lily looked at her father. Dr. Chen has been treating me for 9 months, and I'm getting worse. Claire spent 1 hour with me, and she actually listened. She didn't talk over me. She didn't dismiss my symptoms. She treated me like I had a brain. Lily, you don't understand, Chen started. I understand I'm dying. I understand you keep saying it's under control, but it's not. I understand I've lost everything, my scholarship, my friends, my life, and you keep saying to trust the process. Tears ran down Lily's face. What if there is no process? What if you're just wrong? The words hit Chen like physical blows. He turned to Marcus, his voice taking on a dangerous edge. Mr. Ashford, you have a choice to make. You can continue with proven, credentialed medical care with me, or you can trust a disgraced former resident who has no license, no authority, and a dead child on her conscience. That child is on your conscience, Claire said. It's her or me, Chen continued, ignoring her. You cannot allow an unlicensed, discredited fraud near your daughter. If you do, I will resign from this case immediately and report her to the Illinois Medical Board for practicing medicine without a license. She'll face criminal charges, and you'll face a malpractice lawsuit when this goes wrong. The threat landed heavy. Marcus looked at Claire, at Chen, at his dying daughter. Claire stood, gathered her papers. Mr. Ashford, I understand your position, Dr. Chen has credentials, reputation, legal standing. I have none of that. She pulled Tyler's medical journal from her bag, the worn leather cover, the documentation she'd kept for 2 years. But I have this. Tyler Martinez's complete case file. Every note, every diagnosis, every piece of evidence showing how Dr. Chen misdiagnosed him, how he dismissed my concerns, and how he falsified records after Tyler died. Everything, Dr. Chen doesn't want you to see. She set it on the table. I also have evidence of his pattern. 3 other cases, all Rasmussen's encephalitis, all misdiagnosed, all devastating outcomes. Claire turned to Chen. You sacrificed Tyler to cover your mistakes with Maya and David, and now you're sacrificing Lily to cover all 3. Chen's face went purple. You can't prove any of that. I can, and I will. Claire looked at Marcus one last time. Your daughter has 6 weeks before the brain damage becomes irreversible. 6 weeks before she starts losing cognitive function permanently. In 6 weeks, you're going to know I was right. But it'll be too late to save her. She walked to the door, stopped, turned back. When you're ready to look at evidence instead of credentials, you know where to find me. Claire left. The door closed behind her. Chen stood in the center of the library, shaking with rage. Mr. Ashford, if you have any communication with that woman, I will resign immediately. Is that understood? Marcus stared at Tyler's journal on the table, at his dying daughter, at the doctor demanding absolute trust. Get out, Marcus said quietly. Excuse me? Get out of my house. I need to think. Chen grabbed his medical bag and stormed out. Victoria picked up Tyler's journal, opened it, started reading. Marcus pulled out his phone, made a call. David, I need you to hire the best medical investigation team money can buy. I want everything on Dr. Raymond Chen, every case he's treated in the last 10 years, every outcome, every complaint, everything. He looked at Lily. And find Claire Brennan. I need to know if she's telling the truth. Claire's phone buzzed with the email at 4:47 p.m. Subject: termination of employment. Effective immediately. Gerald's words were cold and legal. Due to your unprofessional conduct at the November 12th charity gala, including abandonment of duties, destruction of property, and unauthorized interaction with guests, your employment at Maxwell's Steakhouse is hereby terminated. She'd expected it. Still hurt. Her studio apartment felt smaller than ever. The walls closed in. Late afternoon sun cut through the single window, highlighting every crack in the paint, every stain on the carpet, every failure of her life. Bank balance: $347.18. Rent due in 2 days: $900. Student loan debt: $240,000. Eviction notice already taped to her door. Claire sat on her mattress on the floor and opened her laptop. Her medical school friends' social media feeds scrolled past. Dr. Jessica Park, now an attending at Mass General. Dr. Rahul Mehta, Pediatric Cardiology Fellowship at Stanford. Dr. Alicia Wong, publishing groundbreaking research. All the people she'd trained with. All moving forward. She'd sent them messages after leaving the Ashford estate, explaining the situation, asking for advice, needing support. 0 responses. Toxic by association. Nobody wanted to touch the doctor who'd killed Tyler Martinez. Her inbox had 1 new email besides the termination. Subject: urgent opportunity, rural medicine position. She opened it. A hospital recruiter, position in rural Montana. Small community, fresh start. We understand, everyone deserves a second chance. The pay was terrible, but they'd help with her license reinstatement process. Clean slate, new life. She could leave Chicago, leave Dr. Chen, leave this fight, leave everything. Her phone buzzed. Text from unknown number: 2 more seizures today, each lasting longer. She's getting worse. I don't know what to do. Marcus. Another buzz. Please, I need to know if you're right. If there's hope, anything, another. Dr. Chen says if I contact you again, he'll walk away from her case. But I can't watch her die. Claire stared at the messages, at the Montana job offer, at her empty bank account. She could save herself. Or try to save Lily. Not both. Claire Brennan grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Middle-class family. Her younger brother, Danny, developed epilepsy at age 6. She remembered the terror. Watching Danny seize. Watching her parents' helplessness. Watching doctors struggle to find the right treatment protocol. 3 years of trial and error before they controlled his seizures. But they found it. Danny grew up healthy. He was 23 now, working as a software engineer in Seattle. Living a full life. That's why Claire chose medicine. Why she specialized in pediatric neurology. Because she remembered what hope looked like. Medical school at Johns Hopkins. Top 5% of her class. Photographic memory made it easy. She absorbed information like breathing. Dr. Sarah Kim became her mentor. Brilliant neurologist. Tough, but fair. Took Claire under her wing during residency. You have a gift, Dr. Kim told her. You see patterns others miss. Don't ever lose that. Then, Tyler Martinez came into the ER. 8 years old. Seizures for 4 months. Multiple hospital visits. No clear diagnosis. Claire reviewed his case. Recognized the pattern immediately. Rasmussen's encephalitis. Rare, but textbook presentation. Dr. Raymond Chen was the attending physician. Harvard Medical School, chief of neurology. 20 years of experience. He dismissed Claire's diagnosis without looking at her evidence. It's standard epilepsy, Dr. Brennan. You're overcomplicating. But Claire knew. She'd seen this before in the literature. She'd studied every case published in the last decade. She tried to go over Chen's head. Scheduled a meeting with Dr. Kim. Dr. Kim reviewed the evidence. You might be right, Claire, but Chen is the attending. We have to work through proper channels. Claire, Chen isn't perfect. Claire, we have to work through proper channels. Proper channels took too long. Tyler died 3 weeks later. Claire reported it to the medical board. Provided Tyler's complete case file. Documented every moment. Chen dismissed her concerns. Showed the evidence. 2 days later, Chen filed his own report. Claimed Claire administered experimental immunotherapy without authorization. Said she went behind his back. Provided falsified documentation showing treatment orders with her signature orders she never wrote. The medical board investigation was political from the start. Chen's mentor, Dr. Lawrence Berkshire, sat on the board. The fix was in. Dr. Kim was pressured to stay silent. I'm sorry, Claire. If I testify for you, they'll destroy my career too. 4 months of investigation, thousands in legal fees. Her entire savings gone. The board's conclusion. License suspended pending further review. Effectively ended her career. Tyler's mother, Maria Martinez, approached Claire after the hearing. Claire expected anger, blame, hatred. Instead, Maria hugged her. You tried, Maria whispered through tears. That's more than anyone else did. You saw my son. You fought for him. Thank you. Those words destroyed Claire more than the board's decision. She'd tried, and failed. Claire sat in her dark apartment, Tyler's journal open in her lap. Inside was Tyler's photo. Gap-toothed smile. Baseball cap. 8 years old. Forever. I couldn't save you, she whispered. Her phone buzzed again. Marcus. Chen called. Said if I speak to you again, he'll report you for practicing without a license. You'll face criminal charges. I can't put you at risk like that. Claire's hands shook. Rage and grief and frustration all at once. She could walk away, take the Montana job, save herself, or she could fight, expose Chen, save Lily, and face criminal charges that would destroy her permanently. Tyler's photo stared up at her from the journal. She grabbed her phone, typed with trembling fingers. Meet me tomorrow. Alone. Victoria's condo. I have proof. Everything you need to see. And Marcus, I'm already destroyed. I have nothing left to lose. But Lily does. She hit send before she could change her mind. Tomorrow, she'd bet everything on one last chance. Tomorrow, Chen would destroy her. Or she'd destroy him. No middle ground left. Victoria Ashford's downtown condo was smaller than the estate, but still breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Modern furniture. Abstract art worth more than most houses. Marcus arrived at 7 a.m., looking like he hadn't slept. Claire was already there. Tyler's journal and 3 boxes of documents spread across Victoria's dining table. Coffee? Victoria offered. I need answers, Marcus said. Claire took a breath. Then let me show you. She opened Tyler's journal first. Inside were 9 months of meticulous documentation. Tyler Martinez, 8 years old. First seizure, April 15th, 2023. Taken to Northwestern Memorial ER. Initial diagnosis by Dr. Raymond Chen. Standard epilepsy. Prescribed carbamazepine. She showed Marcus the medication logs, the seizure frequency charts, Tyler's mother's desperate notes. Week 4. Seizures increased. Chen added valproic acid. Week 8. Still increasing. Added levetiracetam. Week 12. Tyler having seizures daily. Chen insisted it was just finding the right dosage. Claire's voice remained clinical, professional, but her hands shook. May 30th, 2023. I reviewed Tyler's case. I recognized Rasmussen's encephalitis immediately. The progression pattern, the focal presentation, the treatment, resistance, everything matched. She pulled out her original diagnostic report, handwritten, detailed, backed by research citations. I presented this to Dr. Chen. He dismissed it without reviewing my evidence, said I was being dramatic and overcomplicating a standard case. Why would he do that? Marcus asked. Because admitting I was right meant admitting he was wrong, and admitting he was wrong about Tyler meant exposing a pattern. Claire opened the second box. Maya Thornton, 12 years old, March 2021. Same symptoms, same misdiagnosis by Dr. Chen. She survived, but the delayed treatment caused permanent brain damage. She's 14 now, will never fully recover. Medical records, brain scans, Chen's notes showing the exact same pattern, dismissing obvious signs, pushing standard protocols, discouraging second opinions. David Chen, no relation to the doctor, 14 years old, August 2020. Similar presentation. Dr. Chen recommended hemispherectomy, removing half David's brain. The family trusted him. They did the surgery. Claire's voice cracked. But if Chen had correctly diagnosed Rasmussen's and tried immunotherapy first, David might have kept his whole brain. Marcus stared at the documentation. 3 cases. 4. Counting Lily. She opened the third box. Here's why. Every single one of these cases required Chen to admit his initial diagnosis was wrong. But Chen has built his reputation on being infallible. Harvard-trained, chief of neurology, published researcher. Claire pulled out financial records. Chen's speaking fees, consulting contracts, hospital bonuses, tied to his reputation. His income depends on being the expert who's always right. Admitting one mistake would unravel everything. So he doubled down, again and again. Tyler was the tipping point. When I identified Rasmussen's correctly, Chen couldn't acknowledge it without exposing Maya and David. So he sacrificed Tyler, and he sacrificed me to cover it up. She showed the falsified treatment orders, the signature that was almost hers but not quite, the documentation Chen created after Tyler died. Marcus examined everything. Silent, processing. Victoria had been watching from the window. I made some calls yesterday. Quiet inquiries. Chen has a pattern of discouraging second opinions, of controlling patient information flow, of becoming defensive when questioned. She pulled out her own notes. I spoke with 3 other families who saw Chen for complex cases. All said the same thing. He's brilliant when he's right, but impossible to challenge when he's wrong. Marcus stood, paced. If you're right about Lily, if this is Rasmussen's, what's the treatment? Immunotherapy first. Corticosteroids or immunoglobulin therapy to reduce brain inflammation. If that doesn't work, hemispherectomy as last resort. But it needs to start now. Every day of delay causes irreversible damage. And you can't be her doctor because you don't have a license. Right. Marcus pulled out his phone. Then we bring in someone who does. He made a call. Dr. Maria Santos, this is Marcus Ashford. I need you on a flight from Mayo Clinic to Chicago today. I'll pay whatever it costs. I need an independent neurological consultation for my daughter. No, she hasn't been to Mayo yet. Her current neurologist has been, let's say, resistant to second opinions. He hung up. Dr. Santos will be here tonight. She's one of the top pediatric neurologists in the country. If she confirms your diagnosis, Chen can't dismiss it. Claire felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years. Hope. But Victoria's expression darkened. Marcus, you need to know something. I have a friend on the Illinois Medical Board. She called me this morning. Chen has already filed a complaint against Claire for practicing medicine without a license. He's building a legal case. Claire's hope evaporated. Of course he is. There's more, Victoria continued. Chen has been photographing you at the estate. He has evidence of you reviewing medical files, consulting with Lily, providing medical advice. If he pushes this, you could face criminal charges. Marcus's jaw tightened. So he's threatening to destroy her if we pursue this. He's protecting himself, Claire said. Same pattern as always. The room fell silent. Marcus looked at Claire, really looked at her. Why are you doing this? You could walk away, take a job somewhere else. Start over. Why risk criminal charges for a girl you just met? Claire opened Tyler's journal one more time, touched his photo. Because I couldn't save him. Because Chen got away with it once, and I've carried that for 2 years. Because if I walk away now, Lily becomes Tyler, and I can't live with that again. She looked up at Marcus. I'm already destroyed. My career is gone. My reputation is gone. I have nothing left to lose. But Lily has everything to lose. So yes, I'll risk criminal charges. I'll risk whatever it takes. The sun rose over Lake Michigan, golden light flooding the condo. Marcus made his decision. David, he called his head of security. I need you to do something. Hire private medical investigators. I want every case Dr. Raymond Chen has treated in the last 10 years. Every outcome. Every complaint. Every whisper of malpractice. Money is no object. He looked at Claire. If we're going to war with him, we're going all in. Victoria smiled grimly. Chen is going to fight back hard. Let him, Marcus said. He's been winning because nobody challenged him. That ends now. Claire felt tears building. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to get ugly. His phone buzzed. Text from Chen. Mr. Ashford, I've learned you met with Miss Brennan despite my warning. I'm resigning from Lily's case effective immediately. I've also reported Miss Brennan to the medical board and state attorney. Expect legal action. Marcus read it aloud. Then he texted back. Good. We don't need you anymore. Dr. Maria Santos from Mayo Clinic will be taking over. And Dr. Chen? I'm coming for your medical license. If you've hurt other children the way you hurt mine, you're done. He hit send. Now it's war, Victoria said. Claire looked at the 3 of them. This unlikely alliance. A disgraced doctor, a desperate father, and a grandmother who'd seen through the lies. Then, let's finish this, Claire said. Claire Brennan has just bet everything on exposing Dr. Raymond Chen. But Chen has the law on his side. 25 years of reputation, and nothing to lose. Here's what I need to know. Do you think she'll win through evidence, through moral pressure, or through something no one sees coming? Drop your prediction below, because the next section contains 3 revelations that will completely reframe this story. You think you know who the villain is. You think you understand what's really happening. You're about to be proven wrong. Hit that subscribe button right now. The final confrontation, the medical truth, and the justice Claire has been fighting for it all happens in the next act. And if you're not subscribed, YouTube won't show you other videos like this. We're at the point of no return. Subscribe, because what happens next will leave you speechless. The conference room at Vertex Systems headquarters felt like a courtroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked downtown Chicago. A massive table dominated the space. 7 people sat around it, and the tension was suffocating. Marcus Ashford at the head, Victoria to his right, Lily beside her grandmother, pale but determined. Claire, across from them, Tyler's journal and 3 boxes of evidence stacked in front of her. Marcus's legal counsel, Richard Morrison, taking notes silently. Dr. Maria Santos from Mayo Clinic sat at the far end, medical files spread before her. 50-something, grey hair pulled back, eyes that had seen everything and judged accordingly. And Dr. Raymond Chen, isolated at the opposite end, looking like a trapped animal. "Let's begin," Marcus said. His voice was ice. "Dr. Santos, you've had 24 hours to review my daughter's complete medical history and the evidence Miss Brennan provided. What's your assessment?" Dr. Santos didn't hesitate. "This is textbook atypical Rasmussen's encephalitis. The presentation, the progression, the treatment resistance, everything points to chronic focal inflammation of the left cerebral hemisphere." Chen leaned forward. "Dr. Santos, with all due respect, I'm not finished." Santos's voice cut like a scalpel. "The treatment protocol should have been immunotherapy months ago. High-dose corticosteroids, or IVIG. If unsuccessful, surgical intervention via hemispherectomy. Every day of delay in proper treatment causes irreversible neurological damage. This is a complex case with ambiguous," Chen started. Marcus cut him off. "Dr. Chen, you'll have your turn. Dr. Santos, continue. I've reviewed the medications prescribed. Standard anti-epileptic protocols, appropriate for common epilepsy, completely inadequate for Rasmussen's. It's like treating a bacterial infection with painkillers. You're managing symptoms while the underlying disease destroys the patient." Lily made a small sound. Victoria took her hand. "Furthermore," Santos continued, "I've reviewed the diagnostic analysis provided by Miss Brennan. It's thorough, accurate, and shows a deep understanding of rare pediatric neurological conditions." Claire's throat tightened. Marcus stood. "Then let me formally introduce everyone. Dr. Maria Santos, Chief of Pediatric Neurology at Mayo Clinic. Dr. Raymond Chen, you already know. And this," he gestured to Claire, "is Dr. Claire Brennan, former Johns Hopkins Pediatric Neurology resident, top 5% of her graduating class, specialized in rare neurological presentations." Chen's face went white. "Former resident. Suspended license. Discredited. Wrongly accused," Marcus interrupted. "Which brings us to revelation number 2. Claire opened her first evidence box, her hands steady now. This was her moment. Maya Thornton, age 12 in 2021, same symptoms as Lily. You diagnosed standard epilepsy, Dr. Chen, treated with standard protocols. She now has permanent brain damage. She laid out medical records, brain scans, showing the deterioration. David Chen, age 14 in 2020. Similar presentation. You recommended hemispherectomy, removal of half his brain. The family paid you $85,000 for your exclusive surgical protocol. But if you'd correctly diagnosed Rasmussen's and tried immunotherapy first, David might have kept his whole brain. Chen's hands trembled. Those were different cases. Tyler Martinez, age 8 in 2023. I diagnosed Rasmussen's. You dismissed it. He died. You falsified records blaming me. Claire pulled out financial documents. All three families paid you premium fees for cutting-edge treatment. Maya's family, $127,000 over 2 years. David's family, $85,000 for surgery, plus $40,000 in consultations. Tyler's family, $63,000 before he died. She laid out the numbers, the pattern, the money trail. You weren't just wrong, Dr. Chen. You were monetizing complex cases while providing inadequate care. You discouraged second opinions because outside experts would expose you. You controlled information flow to maintain power. That's not. Chen's professional facade was crumbling. I believed in my treatment approach. Your treatment approach killed Tyler, Claire said quietly. And it's been killing Lily for 9 months. Chen stood abruptly. I've practiced medicine for 25 years. I've saved hundreds of lives. You're trying to destroy my career over a few complicated cases with unfortunate outcomes. 4 children over 8 years, Claire said. Maya, David, Tyler, now Lily. 4 families who trusted you. 4 catastrophic failures following the exact same pattern. Claire opened the final box. Revelation 3. She pulled out official documents. Medical board letterhead. 2 years ago, I filed a formal complaint against Dr. Chen with the Illinois State Medical Board. Complete documentation of Tyler Martinez's case. Evidence showing Chen's misdiagnosis. Proof that he falsified treatment records after Tyler died. She spread the documents across the table. My complaint was buried, never investigated. Why? Claire looked directly at Chen. Because Dr. Lawrence Berkshire sits on the medical board. Your mentor, your protector. Chen's face went from white to gray. But I kept digging. Filed Freedom of Information requests. Hired a lawyer with the last of my savings. And I found something interesting. She pulled out more documents. The medical board received 3 other informal complaints about you over the past 8 years, all involving complex pediatric cases, all dismissed without investigation, all buried by Berkshire. And this, Claire held up a coroner's report. Tyler Martinez's autopsy, obtained through legal channels after 2 years of fighting. It confirms everything. Rasmussen's encephalitis, brain inflammation, consistent with chronic, untreated autoimmune condition. My diagnosis was correct. Your treatment was negligent. The room went silent. Chen sat down slowly. His hands covered his face. When he looked up, tears ran down his cheeks. The polished, confident doctor was gone. What remained was a broken man. Maya was my first mistake, he whispered. I was so sure, so confident. And when she didn't improve, I couldn't understand why. I consulted specialists, but I didn't tell them everything. I controlled the information. His voice cracked. When she developed permanent damage, I told myself it was just a difficult case, unavoidable. But there was this voice in my head saying I'd missed something. Then David. Same presentation. I was so focused on proving my approach worked that I rushed to surgery. And afterward, when other neurologists questioned it, I justified it, defended it, built my reputation on being right. Chen looked at Claire, and then Tyler. You saw it immediately. A second-year resident saw what I missed, and I couldn't admit it, because admitting I was wrong about Tyler meant admitting I was wrong about Maya and David. So you sacrificed him, Claire said. And you sacrificed me. I convinced myself you were wrong, that you were inexperienced, reckless. That Tyler died because of something you did, not something I failed to do. Chen's voice broke completely. I believed my own lies, and then I did it again with Lily. He looked at Lily. At the 16-year-old girl he'd been slowly killing for 9 months. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. The apology hung in the air. Claire stood, walked around the table, stood directly in front of Chen. Your regret doesn't resurrect Tyler. It doesn't give David back his brain hemisphere. It doesn't undo the 9 months of suffering you've caused, Lily. Acknowledgement is not absolution, Doctor. Chen nodded, tears streaming. I know. Marcus's legal counsel spoke for the first time. Dr. Chen, your medical license will be suspended as of this moment. The Illinois State Attorney will be reviewing these documents for potential criminal negligence charges. You're done. Lily's voice, small but clear, cut through the devastation. Start the treatment. Today. Everyone looked at her. I don't care about him anymore, Lily said, looking at Chen without emotion. I don't care about his apologies or his career or his guilt. I just want to live. So start the treatment today. Doctor. Santos nodded. I'll begin immunotherapy protocols immediately. We'll monitor response over 3 weeks. If necessary, we'll discuss surgical options. She looked at Claire. I want you consulting on this case. Officially. She doesn't have a license, Marcus's lawyer said. Then we'll petition for emergency medical reinstatement. This young woman has demonstrated expertise that saved a life. The system failed her. It's time to make that right. Claire felt something break open in her chest. 2 years of grief and rage and guilt cracking. Thank you, she whispered. Marcus stood. Dr. Chen, get out of my building and prepare for war, because I'm going to expose every case you've mishandled, every family you've hurt, every lie you've told. Chen stood on shaking legs, walked to the door, stopped, turned back to Claire. For what it's worth, you were right. About everything. I'm sorry I destroyed you for being right. Then, he left. The door closed. And for the first time in 2 years, Claire Brennan could breathe. 3 weeks later, Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Private room on the pediatric neurology floor. Doctor. Santos adjusted the IV line, feeding immunoglobulin into Lily's system. 3rd week of treatment. The most critical phase. Claire stood in the corner, officially listed as consulting specialist, thanks to emergency medical authorization. She watched the monitors, watched Lily sleep, watched Marcus maintain his vigil in the chair he'd barely left in 21 days. Her brain inflammation markers are down 63%, Santos said quietly. The treatment is working. Claire's eyes filled with tears. Day 22. Lily went 16 hours without a seizure. Day 23. 24 hours. Day 24. Lily woke up clear-headed for the first time in 9 months, sat up, looked at her father. Dad, I feel different. Better. Marcus broke. Collapsed into sobs against Lily's hospital bed, his whole body shaking with relief and grief and exhausted joy. Victoria held him while he fell apart. 2 years of terror released in massive, racking sobs. Lily, weak but smiling, touched his hair. It's okay, Dad. I'm still here. I almost lost you, Marcus choked out. But you didn't. That night, Lily slept for 9 hours straight. No seizures. No interruptions. Just sleep. Marcus stood in the hospital hallway at 3 a.m., staring at nothing. Victoria found him there. She's going to live, he whispered. My daughter is going to live. Because of Claire. Because Claire risked everything. The news broke on day 26. Prominent neurologist's license suspended amid malpractice allegations. Medical board corruption exposed. 4 cases. 0 accountability. Disgraced. Doctor's evidence vindicates her. Destroys elite physician. The Illinois State Medical Board suspended Dr. Raymond Chen's license pending full investigation. Dr. Lawrence Berkshire, Chen's mentor and board protector, resigned under pressure. The district attorney opened criminal negligence reviews for Tyler Martinez's case. Maya Thornton's family filed a malpractice lawsuit. David Chen's family followed. The medical board formally reopened Claire's case, reviewed the evidence with fresh eyes. The conclusion was swift and definitive. Wrongful suspension. License fully reinstated. 3 major hospitals extended offers. Northwestern Memorial, attending physician, pediatric neurology. Johns Hopkins. Invitation to return. Associate professor position. Mayo Clinic. Dr. Santos personally requested her. But Claire turned them all down. Marcus's office. 1 week after Lily's first seizure-free week, he handed Claire an envelope. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside was a check. $5 million. Claire stared at it. "Marcus, I can't. You saved my daughter's life. This is what that's worth to me." His voice was firm. Non-negotiable. "It's too much. It's not enough. Nothing would be enough. But it's what I promised. Take it. Use it however you want. Start a foundation. Pay off your debts. Build something. Just take it." Claire looked at the check. At the number that would erase every financial burden she'd carried for 2 years. "On one condition," she said. "You help me build something that matters." Marcus smiled. "I was hoping you'd say that." Resurrection Cemetery, Chicago. Cold November morning. Claire stood at a small grave. Fresh flowers in her hands. Tyler Daniel Martinez. 2015 to 2023. Forever loved. She knelt. Placed the flowers gently against the headstone. "I couldn't save you," she whispered. "I tried. God, I tried so hard. But I couldn't." Tears ran down her face, hot against the cold air. "But I stopped him, Tyler. I stopped Dr. Chen from doing it again. Lily's alive. She's getting better. She's going to have the life you deserved." Her voice broke. "I hope that's enough. I hope wherever you are, you know I never stopped fighting for you." The wind rustled through the cemetery trees. Claire touched the cold stone. "Thank you for making me a better doctor, for teaching me that being right isn't enough if you don't have the courage to fight for it." She stood, wiped her tears. Behind her, a car pulled up. Marcus and Lily, visiting the grave of the boy who died so his daughter could live. "Is this him?" Lily asked quietly, walking up beside Claire. "This is Tyler." Lily knelt, placed her own flowers beside Claire's. "Thank you," Lily whispered to the grave. "I'm alive because of you. I promise I won't waste it." The three of them stood together in silence. A life lost, a life saved, and the doctor, who carried both, Mrs. Patterson, the elderly customer from Maxwell's Steakhouse, who'd always treated Claire with unusual respect, appeared at Claire's apartment one evening with an official-looking envelope. "I believe you'll need this for your reinstatement hearing." Claire opened it. Inside was a letter to the Illinois Medical Board, a comprehensive recommendation for Claire's license reinstatement. The signature line made her gasp. Dr. Eleanor Patterson, Professor Emerita of Medical Ethics, Northwestern University. You're Dr. Eleanor Patterson? The Dr. Patterson? You wrote the textbook on medical ethics I studied in school." "I did, Mrs. Patterson, Doctor." Patterson smiled warmly. "And I've been watching you for 18 months, Claire. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Watching how you treated difficult customers with grace. How your vocabulary slipped through when you forgot to hide it. How you touched your apron pocket during stressful moments like you were checking for something precious." Claire's eyes filled with tears. "Why didn't you say anything?" "Because you weren't ready to be seen. You were still healing. Still hiding. Doctor." Patterson touched Claire's shoulder. "But I knew when the right moment came, you'd step forward. And when you did, I wanted to be ready to help. You wrote this before I was even reinstated. I wrote it the day after the gala. The day you chose a dying child over your own safety. That's when I knew you were ready to be a doctor again." Claire hugged her, sobbing. "Thank you for seeing me when I couldn't see myself. My dear, you were impossible not to see, even when you were trying so hard to disappear." Late May, Chicago's South Side. The building wasn't fancy. A renovated warehouse in a working-class neighborhood where gentrification hadn't reached yet. But the sign above the door gleamed new. Brennan, Center for Diagnostic Justice. Free medical consultation for complex cases. Claire stood on the sidewalk, looking up at her name on a building. 6 months ago, she was a waitress facing eviction. Now this. Marcus appeared beside her, having second thoughts, terrified thoughts. Good. Terror means you care. He smiled. Ready to change some lives? Inside, the center was organized chaos. 10 examination rooms, a small laboratory, conference spaces, and waiting room already filling with patients, people who'd been dismissed, misdiagnosed, told their symptoms were psychological when they were physiological. The invisible people. The dismissed. The overlooked. Claire's people. Her staff was unconventional. Dr. James Wu, brilliant infectious disease specialist who'd lost his license after whistleblowing on hospital malpractice. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, former surgeon whose tremor ended her operating career, now diagnosing complex cases through detailed analysis. Dr. Michael Torres, psychiatrist, who'd been fired for refusing to overprescribe medication to children, all of them broken by a system that valued compliance over conscience. All of them still brilliant. Dr. Brennan, a voice called from the door. Lily Ashford walked in, wearing scrubs with a volunteer badge. 6 months, seizure-free. Color back in her face. Life back in her eyes. She'd deferred Northwestern for a gap year to work at the center. Patient in room 3 needs neuroconsultation, Lily said. All business. Seizure history, treatment-resistant, dismissive prior physicians. Sound familiar? Claire smiled. Let's go save someone. They walked down the hallway together. The former dying patient and the doctor who'd saved her. Victoria Ashford sat in the center's administrative office, managing the board of directors with the same efficiency she'd run her family for decades. Mrs. Patterson, Dr. Eleanor Patterson, served as ethics consultant, ensuring every decision honored patients first. Marcus funded it all through the Ashford Foundation, medical board reform initiatives, free diagnostic clinics in underserved neighborhoods, legal support for physicians wrongly accused. Tyler Martinez's name was etched on a memorial plaque in the lobby. In memory of Tyler Daniel Martinez, his story saved countless others. May we never forget the cost of silenced voices. Claire's office was small but perfect. Windows overlooking the neighborhood, medical journals on shelves. Tyler's photo on her desk next to a recent picture of Lily, healthy, smiling, alive. Her worn leather journal sat beside them. She didn't need to touch it for comfort anymore. The evidence it contained had done its work. Justice had been served. But she kept it anyway, a reminder of the cost, of the fight, of why this mattered. A knock on her door. Dr. Brennan, your 2 p.m. is here. A woman in her 40s, nervous, clutching medical files. My son has been sick for 2 years. 7 doctors. No one can figure it out. They say it's anxiety, but I know my son. Something's wrong. No one will listen. Claire gestured to a chair. I'm listening. Tell me everything. That evening, Claire checked her email. One message stood out. From Journal of Pediatric Neurology. Subject: Publication interest. Atypical Rasmussen's encephalitis case study. Dr. Brennan, we've reviewed your comprehensive analysis of atypical Rasmussen's encephalitis presentations across multiple cases. Your diagnostic framework and documentation are extraordinary. We'd like to publish your work in our next issue. This study will save lives. It will help physicians identify this condition earlier. It will honor Tyler Martinez's memory by ensuring his case educates the next generation of doctors. Your name, your research, your contribution to medical knowledge. Will you allow us to publish? Claire read it twice, 3 times. Medical legitimacy. Not granted by a board that had betrayed her, not given by institutions that had failed her, earned through undeniable expertise, through saving lives, through refusing to be silenced. She clicked reply, typed 1 word, yes. Then she looked at Tyler's photo, at Lily's, at the journal that had carried her through the darkness. We did it, she whispered. Not the way I planned, but better, so much better. Outside her window, Chicago's South Side bustled with life. Invisible people going about their days, brilliant minds hidden in plain sight. And now, they had somewhere to be seen. Claire Brennan wasn't the doctor she'd been before. She was better. She was exactly who she needed to be. Claire Brennan's journey took 18 months of hiding and 3 weeks of risk to expose the truth. But here's why this story matters more than you might realize. Claire represents thousands of brilliant people working beneath their expertise. The PhD driving for Uber, the former executive stocking shelves at Target, the concert pianist cleaning offices, people whose careers were destroyed by politics, mistakes, or simply being right when the wrong people had power. Society teaches us to judge competence by credentials, by job titles, by where someone works, and what they wear. But real expertise doesn't disappear when a license is revoked. True knowledge can't be stripped away by a board's decision. And sometimes, the invisible people around you possess exactly the answers you desperately need. This channel exists to find these people, to tell their stories, to prove that competence and credentials aren't always the same thing. If you believe expertise exists outside institutions, if you've ever been underestimated or dismissed, this is your community. Subscribe right now. Because these stories matter. Because invisible people deserve to be seen. Because the system that destroyed Claire Brennan is still out there, destroying others. Drop your answer below. What hidden expertise do you have that would shock people who only see your job title? What skill, knowledge, or experience do you carry that no one knows about? Your story might be featured next. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. You're part of the 7% who do. Every like, comment, and subscription helps me continue finding these stories, these invisible experts, these hidden heroes. You showed up for Claire. Now show up for the next one. Hit subscribe, because their stories are just beginning.